what he's saying about the arguments and all, it's not like ऐसे we would like fight or anything.
गाड़ी से निकल के क्या कल गुस्से में?
नहीं.
झूठ बोल रहा है.
I am of his age. I can't imagine directing Tabu or Naseer साहब और कुमुद सर और Arjun anyone. मैं तो खुद ही डर जाऊंगी.
So this is my first interview of the year, and I am thrilled to start with Team Kuttey.
Happy New Year from Team Kuttey.
Yes, I love it. So of course, Vishal, I have to start with you. I read somewhere that children are qualified immortality. And I want to ask you what this was like to be co-writing, co-producing, doing music for a film that your son is directing.
Yeah, it's a very strange feeling.
क्यों?
एक तो इसलिए कि कि you're seeing your kids कि आपने गोदी में खिलाया है और उससे फिर आप अभी तक झगड़े चलते हैं. कल सुबह तक हम दोनों का झगड़ा हुआ था.
I love it. Creative
झगड़े कि क्या होना चाहिए था, क्या नहीं हुआ, क्यों हुआ. Why did you take a stand for me? And I asked him, कि तुमने क्यों ऐसा किया. अभी भी ऊपर भी मैंने इसको बोला कि इसने बोला कि वो मुझसे वो चेक करने के लिए मंगाया तो इतना ट्रस्ट नहीं है. तो मैंने बोला दैट मीन्स वी आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल, यू आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल कि हमने उतना ट्रस्ट बिल्ड नहीं किया अपना. सो ये इट्स लाइक ए 24 आवर्स कॉन्फ्लिक्ट घर में, घर के बाहर. इट्स वेरी ब्यूटिफुल व्हेन यू आर आउट ऑफ इट एंड व्हेन यू लुक बैक. इट्स ब्यूटिफुल. So you feel so nice that there's someone in your home with whom you can now share the pain, share the happiness and share the creativity. Because अब मैं बहुत चीज़ों मुझसे ये पूछने लगा हूँ कि अच्छा ये तुमको ये कैसा लग रहा है, जो कि मैं कभी इससे पहले नहीं पूछता था. तो वो एज फिल्म मेकर बढ़ रहा है. तो एक बहुत ही मतलब कभी सोचा भी नहीं था कि ये फिल्म का जो भी होगा, जैसी भी होगी, बॉक्स ऑफिस जो भी होगा, द वे ही हैज़ मेड दिस फिल्म ऑन हिज ओन, दैट मेक्स मी प्राउड कि ही नोज हिज क्राफ्ट. फिल्म का जो भी होगा. तो मैं इसलिए एक दिन शूटिंग पे भी नहीं गया.
Really?
एक दिन शूटिंग पे नहीं गया. एंड दे आर गवाह हैं. सो एंड इट्स सच ए डिफिकल्ट फिल्म टू मेक एज अ फर्स्ट फिल्म. The whole night film with rain, and Arjun will tell trauma he has gone through. Yeah.
But Aasmaan, I imagine to have Vishal Bhardwaj on your team. I mean, how fantastic, right? Like he's just one of the finest. But how do you, as a first-time director, retain your artistic voice? This film feels to me from the promo like it has that same kind of delicious dark energy of Kaminey, which is a film I loved. But you are your own person. So how did you know कि इसमें pushback करना है, इसमें लड़ाई करनी है? How did you figure that out?
I didn't have to figure anything out. It was like what I had learned from my teachers in college and what I've learned from Dad also is that whatever I believe is true to me or what I believe in 100%. Like if I have that conviction that I like this, then I can argue for it. And and I have to be open as a collaborator also, that if someone is saying something and I feel convinced that they might be right, then then it's me who has to decide that if I'm feeling they are right, that means that I might not be 100% sure about what I believe in. So then we discuss and do that. Matlab, what he's saying about the arguments and all, it's not like ऐसे we would like fight or anything.
गाड़ी से निकल के क्या कल गुस्से में?
नहीं.
झूठ बोल रहा है.
नहीं, मतलब like it's not.
So sweet.
नहीं पटाखा एक्चुअली टाइटल इसके लिए रखा था उन्होंने. पिक्चर बने इनके साथ लेकिन टाइटल तो ये पटाखा है.
But like
अपनी पानी की बोतल लेके he walked out of the car.
No. So he thinks that that's what I did. I knew that he's getting late, and because of our meeting, he got late. So I didn't want him to wait at the U-turn.
Correct.
That's why
that's why
I was like, I'll walk and go. No, he took it like that. That's his problem.
Does your mom play umpire between the two?
Yeah, she was playing till a while and then she was like, I'm not getting involved in it too because मैं पिसती रहूँगी.
with me now.
During the shoot, she had stopped doing that. But anyway, so coming to what you asked, I never felt that I have to, how do I tell people, like, because he's given me that confidence, my teachers and all, they all have just told me that if you believe in something 100%, you fight for it. If the other person's able to convince you, then that doesn't mean you're wrong, but it's just, that's how collaboration and creativity works. So that's how I approached it. I would never, like, in the beginning I was little shut off that way, no, this will happen like this. And then when he used to, this is while writing, like when he used to be like, okay, I've written it, you see it. When I used to read, I was like, oh my god, yeah, this is better, and obviously it's better. So I would accept it, and that's how I started opening up, as I should be more collaborative. When I came back from college, I was like, this is...
I know best.
No, not I know best, but this is what I've been taught and this is what I have to do. So, and that is actually what you learn in film school also, that there's a combination. Because they teach you, I did screenwriting, so that is mostly theory over there. There's no practical in that way other than writing it. So they teach you a structure, they teach you a form, and even they are so regressive about it that you have to follow this. You have 3-act structure, you have to do the inciting incident at the 10th page. So when I used to tell Dad that also, used to be like, you learn it now, but later you have to throw it away, otherwise you never will, learn actual screenwriting. So when I came back, I was like that. Then being lucky enough to collaborate on the script with Dad, that's when I think I actually reached the final stage of learning my screenwriting. And obviously I'll still learn till whenever, but I mean, I opened up to collaboration in a way that I don't think I was in college, because I didn't have to collaborate there. I was doing it on my own.
Radhika, you're of course the veteran of the Bhardwaj school, right? You launched with him in 2018. He was an assistant on that film. Did that help you understand his vision better?
Not at all. Like, when I was shooting for Pataka, because he was our age, Sanya and I used to take his case left, right, center. We used to be like, हाँ क्या कर लेगा ये?
Little did you know.
Bullies. We were bullies, and he was a sweetheart. And I think उस time पे तेरी छुट्टियाँ चल रही थी, and you were assisting. So, and फिर वापस आके he was like, हाँ, we've written a thing, ये वो. तो I had no idea that he's writing कुत्ते. I was like, हाँ, अभी तो पढ़ के आया है, अभी कौन सी मूवी बना लेगा? But when I read Kuttey, I don't know how to explain it in words. I just felt a sense of pride. I don't need to feel proud. I don't have anything to feel proud, but I felt a sense of pride because I consider them as my home here. Like, I still take his blessings before every project.
Yeah, she's so sweet. Before every film starts, she sent me a message, and I feel so touched for that. अभी भी ये message करते कि आशीर्वाद भेजिए.
But so it is, they are home for me, and to see Aasmaan rise and shine, and I saw him as a director. He had such unique voice, such clarity.
Yeah, Tabu told me they are very different.
Very, very different.
Yeah, I said what? She was like completely different.
Yeah. Like, and to see him on set, like, I am of his age. I can't imagine directing Tabu or Naseer Saab or Kumud sir or Arjun, anyone. मैं तो खुद ही डर जाऊंगी.
अभी म्यूजिकल चल रही है.
But I can't. So I used to ask him that how do you okay a take?
Right.
Because whatever they do, it's brilliant. How do you manage it? But he was so clear. So on the set, I was just observing him and learning from him, like how he's handling everything. He was on time, on schedule, giving his 100%, taking risks, attempting shots which are so difficult, and doing everything like makhan, because he was so clear. And so it makes this project very, very special for me, because I feel as if I am directing it. Like, I feel the stakes of it. And I can't wait for the world to see what Aasmaan has done, and I feel really lucky to be a part of this.
That's so lovely. Now, Arjun, your career is so varied that I feel like you'll get whiplash just trying to keep track, right? I mean, your last film was
I got a lot of backlash.
The Ek Villain Returns was your last feature,
Yeah.
right? But you've said that Aasmaan, Dibakar and Ajay Bahl are the directors who made you bare your heart.
Yeah.
What does that mean in practical terms?
So there's a huge side of me that appreciates cinema of all sorts. I think there's a lot of baggage that you carry because you start out doing a lot of mainstream material. And sometimes that gets misconstrued that ये इस तरह की फिल्में करना चाहता है. So you're offered more material in that zone and that vicinity. So what tends to happen, you also follow a comfort zone and a pattern. What you're being offered is what you're trying to get the best out of, and you're doing the best out of that. There is an artist inside me that wants to hone his craft. I started out doing a film. My first film was very different from who I am. And I did see a joy and absolute happiness from that pain of going to become another person. Not every film allows you to go to that distance. I think when I did a Finding Fanny, it was also to live in a different world. Sometimes you might not only be the character, it's also to be in a different environment and also live that journey, because you've seen so many different kinds of films and different characters. You also want to play those roles. So I think Dibakar started that recalibration in my head that I need to pursue stuff that makes the artist inside me uncomfortable, scared, open, vulnerable. And bearing my all means not coming on set thinking about the commerce all the time, not trying to appease the general audience, but also to try and tell a story that really appeals to you, a character that you really want to be pure about and not think about, अच्छा ये scene में मैं ये 2 line ऐसे बोल दूंगा तो वो उधर वहाँ reaction आ जाएगा. You get very caught up in all that when you're doing a lot of mainstream films. It's the nature of the business. You might be as honest, but what happens is you're collaborating to bring more people in. Sometimes you just need to bring yourself out and present yourself also. So I feel I impulsively chose Kuttey. I still remember the Zoom call very clearly. I remember it very clearly. He narrated the film and Vishal sir was just there. And perhaps if I'd met him and spent more time with him, I might have questioned it. I think the fact that I saw him just narrating a film that he has written with such clarity with Vishal sir, I was convinced that this boy knows what he wants to do with it. At no point did he have to turn towards his father and say, आप ये scene narrate कर दो या आप ये बता दो. He went through the beats. I think we had one small conversation about there was one small chunk that was tweaked. And I said, so that's all I just remember that much. वो जो 2-4 scenes का एक section था. I think we had one immediate conversation. He said, we'll get back. Within 2 weeks, he messaged me that we've reworked it. So I knew that he's meticulous. I knew that he's going to allow me to be an actor. Even in the workshops, him and me went alone. We sat in Atul Monga with Atul Monga's team. He made me do stuff and he used to remind me on set to do it. So I think as an artist, when you have a director that is from day one clear about what they want, and they also know that you are open, and then they use you. And he had a lot of fun with me. I think I underestimated myself as an actor around this ensemble. He gave me tremendous confidence.
Ensemble. It is.
Yeah. Also, I felt I'll have to work very hard to fit in. But he was so clear about his look. I have to give him credit. I have to give credit to the team. I have to give credit to the writing in itself that allowed him to be so clear that the uniform is so important, the mustache is important, the length of the hair is important, the beard is important, the boots are important, the gun is important. And I used to always look at it like, अच्छा ये तो चीजें हैं, but scene के अंदर तो बहुत acting है यार, क्योंकि इतने सारे characters हैं. But I think that made me look like I fit in as Gopal. And he gave me that baggage to carry of Gopal because he designed me very specifically to make sure कि Arjun Kapoor नहीं देखे. Because बाकी सारे actors तो अपने characters कर जाएंगे, वो है महारथी. I don't think he did it with an intent कि अर्जुन को बचाना है या उसको प्रोजेक्ट करना. He did it for Gopal. But just that he came with that sincerity. I used to argue with him about यार ये vest इतना बड़ा क्यों है, छोटा कर देते हैं, थोड़ा ये. Listen, I was doing villain, and then you're like, so you have to excuse that I'd just grown my hair out, and I was in that phase of यार लंबे बाल वाला पुलिस वाला क्यों नहीं हो सकता? And yet it was all in fun and jest. I used to also push him slightly to see how he pushes back, and he pushed back all the time with the same amount of decency, clarity. He never tried to call him up to say आप बात करिए. He never tried to call up love to say sort this out. I shared a one-on-one with him at a creative level, at a production level also in terms of coming to set, timings, etc. And I think bearing your heart is also about the making of a film.
Yeah.
Dibakar pushed me in a different way. I think Aasmaan pushed me as a human being also in a very collaborative way. And he was really the captain of the ship. So I think when you work with Ajay Bahl, when you work with Dibakar, when you work, and I hopefully work with people like Vishal sir, when you work with even the homies of this world, the thing is, they have to be clear because actors are slightly whimsical and slightly moody and mercurial as to what suits them. But a director cannot always be angsty about it. You have to mold the actor to the character and allow him to bear his heart in front of the. Because once you start seeing the monitor, like I think the first day I saw one or two shots, I said, no, he's nailed the look. And I think Kuttey is a very visual film in that sense. He got me to look like I'm part of that world, standing with those four अपना inspectors when I stopped the van. वो पहला दिन जो shooting का था जो हमने किया था. I saw that. I said, नहीं यार, what he's fought for is absolutely right. So that's bearing your heart there.
And you got to dance to Dhan Te Nan.
I think that's the icing. So I'll tell you what.
How did that feel?
You know, to be honest, I have to say this, and I'm going to say it because I think this is the best platform to say it. I saw Kaminey 3 times in 3 days.
I was a fan
I did.
too.
There was, I think, the swine flu was, and I keep reminding him. I think he's fed up with the story. The swine flu चल रहा था उस time पे, and I was dying to go to Pune to see it because Mumbai में theatres में शायद लगने नहीं वाली थी. I was obsessed. So for me, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels made me choose to be part of this profession. It was not Mr. India or anything. That was me being a father-son dynamic. The filmmaker inside me or the film industry person inside me woke up. I said, yeah, Guy Ritchie. And then I saw Vishal Bhardwaj make Kaminey. And then that climax, the shootout, the celebration of these characters, the quirks, the caper genre as you call it. I loved Kaminey. And when they said they're making Kuttey, I just said कि यार मैं तो वैसे ही करने ही वाला हूँ. ये narration सुनने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है. So the icing on the cake is of course the fact that he's doing the music. He's got Gulzar Saab to do the lyrics. I think Dhan Te Nan is, for me, more than dancing on it, is just a nice interlink and sort of creating a universe of that. For anybody that needs nostalgia and reminder of what that film stands for and a continuation of what we're trying to make with Kuttey. For me, the dance wasn't as exciting as having to be just part of that sound design in the film. And this film is very sound design driven also. It'll come in the film. For me, that's more exciting कि film में किस तरह Dhan Te Nan use हुआ है. Like in the trailer how it's used, you know.
क्या शिकार करूं?
It comes to build and it gives you an emotion, and I think Dhan Te Nan is an emotion.
Yeah.
His music has a lot of emotion. Like that day we were on a show and बीड़ी जले चालू हुआ मैं नाचने लग गया. And I remembered the steps because his music has a lot of emotion.
Can I tell you, I have told Vinod that I want Bidi Jalaile playing at my funeral. That's my idea of like going out with a band. Jigar ma badi aag hai, literally translated. Okay, he's like, what? I was like, I make a note of it, please. Vishal, what surprised you the most about how Aasmaan handled it? Like, what were you completely not expecting?
But to complete the film in budget.
Well done.
Which is a tough film.
And
Action, nights.
yeah, and less than the scheduled dates. Like it was scheduled for 52 days and I think he finished in 48 or 49, 50 days. And you know, of course he had his lows because you know shooting में मेरा तो अभी तक low होता है कि
It's a tough process.
yeah, it's such a tough process. किसी ने बोला था ना कि वो जो बॉम्बर पायलट होता है जो बॉम्ब करता है उसके बाद जो सेकंड स्ट्रेसफुल प्रोफेशन है वो डायरेक्टर
करते क्यों आप लोग?
या मेरी तो हर बार वो फीलिंग आती है जब भी मैं फिल्म डायरेक्ट कर रहा होता हूँ बीच में एक फीलिंग आती है कि व्हाई एम आई डूइंग इट टू माय सेल्फ. ये वो आता है वो फेज आता है 1-2 दिन का कि जहाँ होता है कि अब हो गया बस अब इसके बाद नहीं.
It's almost like man management on a day, मतलब people management,
हाँ,
situation
actually,
management,
direction,
damage control.
You know,
Yeah,
you have seen this, yeah. So, and it is such a tough script. It is such a tough script to execute. The night, the rain, everything that surprised me. You know, I was not expecting कि मुझे था कि maybe I'll have to go someday on a set on a difficult thing. He will have a tussle with either with Arjun or Tabu will call me, you know, abusing that your son has done this to me. Come here. So I was on all because it was shot. I think 80% on nights. Night shoot. I used to get up like 4 o'clock in the morning to check my messages. Ki, is everything going all right or no? Or somebody because there's so much of action and they were shooting. I mean. In such difficult locations which I thought they could have shot in easily in the film city, but they were going out in Thane and you know Vasai, you know.
Yeah, हमने मुंबई दर्शन किया thanks to Aasmaan Bhardwaj.
Yeah, so
Meera Road.
So the execution part of it, and that made me proud. That that he knows his craft. So any father feels that his children should survive the the market. So that I am very now satisfied that he'll survive it because he knows his craft. So
He shot the toughest sequence in the first 3-4 days
Yeah.
actually.
You started with that.
Yeah.
Then again he agreed with me. I asked him, told him,
I always
warned
told
him.
him, I said, you're making a big step here. It's a big
It
step.
should have been the last
Yeah.
sequence of the
I
film.
mean, my
You
first
know, you're
KD
still being
made a-
criticized here.
No,
But see, that is experience versus
Yeah.
the belief.
Enthusiasm.
It has to. I mean, he is going to pass that same information to 10 other young directors. Now saying, I did this. Please don't do it. Those young directors will still do it.
Correct.
It's
correct.
inevitable.
You have to. You have to.
I also tried to nudge him and say, you really want to start with the toughest thing first? He said, no, it's better, we'll have it. And I was alone in that part. So I was like, okay, but it really is very, very difficult, the sequence. And when you see the film, you'll understand why. But then see, credit to him, once we started, he didn't back out.
Yeah.
And it was not like he put his hands up and said, we'll do this later. Yeah, shooting. We had a first day which was tough. But the second day, he got his team together and they put it together and we finished the sequence. And then he also, see, one thing I feel as a filmmaker, you have to also be knowing when you come on a set, there will be some level of compromise. You cannot be a child on set, mujhe jo chahiye, wohi chahiye. You have to have some maturity, even in being a young director, that you need to understand and evaluate the circumstances in which a film is being made. You're not making a 200 crore spectacle that you can afford to pause things and reassess and come back the next day. On ground also, on the third day of shooting, to be able to readjust and say, okay, this one shot we will do in a particular way, let's finish this first. He was always processing in real time and being able to operate, and that just showed that he was there.
He's on the ball.
He was not making it out of ego.
Sorry,
And
we're talking about him like he's not here.
But I just feel really happy that he's been able to put his vision out the way it's coming through, because it's a tough film.
No, but also handling.
And
the
we
star
were
cast.
shooting with the same cameraman. I was shooting Kuttey,
Yeah, that also.
and that overlap happened because my film got delayed.
And
So-
COVID happened in the middle
And
of
COVID
it.
happened because of COVID. So the same cameraman was shooting my film and his film. So there was an overlap too.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so
Same
funny.
costume designer also.
Yeah.
Same actor also.
हाँ, same
Same
actor.
actor
Tabu,
also.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
No, but look at this star cast. I mean, of course, there's the two of you, but there's Tabu, there's Naseer Saab, there is Kumud Mishra, there's Shardul, there's Konkona. What was a day on set like? I mean, how did you ever get overwhelmed, Aasmaan, ki? Wow.
I mean, definitely. I got overwhelmed on the first day actually when I went to set in Vasai, because like when I had written the script and we had approached everyone and done the budgeting and all that, I thought कि हाँ, like I've seen Dad's films like हाँ, छोटी budget वाली film है type, and I remember driving to like from if the location is like there like
वो जो
2
काले
kilometers.
रास्ते से जो उजाले की तरफ जाते हैं.
I'm going
balloon
and it's like
lights,
5 p.m., 6 p.m. for a night shift, and first day I reach and I'm like sitting with my this thing. The driver was also this thing. I was like कि टीकाराम जी किसी और का shoot चालू है क्या? He's like कि पता नहीं लग तो रहा है, because it's like massive. You know what a moon box is? So
They
moon
create a
box
fake
is like
moon,
a
like-
Right, of course.
so,
Yes.
but it's like a crane, like 20 by 20 crane with 50 lights attached to it, which
Tankers
goes
for the rain.
up in the sky, like it's a thing. So, I asked him after that. I got down and the associate producer Vicky ji, I asked him कि Vicky ji किसी और का shoot भी चल रहा है क्या? He's like नहीं, वो हमारा है. I was like what? And then I reached the set and I was like, oh my god, like this is not some small this thing. And that's when I was like, can I do this type? And then 2-3 दिन तो I was very this thing, whatever I would shoot सुबह luckily he would wake up by that time. And मैं घर पहुँच के पहले 1 घंटा वो जस्ट भी के ये हुआ ये he'd be like तुम जाके सो मैं आराम से देखता हूँ, फिर शाम जब तक जागोगे तब बताऊँगा अगर कुछ लग रहा है. First 3-4 days, I think almost a week, every day I used to come back and ask, did you see, what did you think? 4 p.m. I would wake up for going to the next day का thing, first like I'd wake up, pick the phone के हाँ देखा क्या कुछ लगा, and he's like कि नहीं सब ठीक तो है. Shrikar sir from Chennai would message, and you know with Shrikar sir, this is the first time I'm working with him as a director. पहले तो assistant की तरह, I would never interact with him that way. He would send like first day ka footage he got, and he gets it, he sends me a message at like 3 p.m. or 12 p.m. or something, and I'm sleeping. So when I wake up, I get a message, saw the footage, looks good. Like with a thumbs up literally. And I was like, is he like, does he mean it, or like he's just saying कि अब तो हो गया क्या करें. So then dad told me कि नहीं वो ऐसे ही बात करते हैं. If he's saying कि अच्छा लग रहा है, then you be happy.
That's
so
nice.
I was, yeah, like I never expected that it will be like that. And then the other time I was overwhelmed was like because with Arjun and like Radhika तो बहन की तरह from पटाखा ही है, तो I wasn't like scared of this thing directing her. Arjun के साथ in the prep only we became very close, we did the workshop and all, where we became friends before we reached the set. So it wasn't a pressure that way कि oh, you know, like oh my god types. But when Tabu ma'am's first day and Naseer bhai's first day and Coco ma'am's first day, I was like first Tabu ma'am's first shot, I remember ke the whole scene as like we finished the first take of the scene, it's getting over, and I'm just watching, I'm not saying cut anything, and they are continuing improvisation. After a point they all turn, and you know while performing, if we're there, they're checking like in the performance why is he not saying cut. Then the script supervisor Shomadi goes like cut, and I was like cut because I was like, how do I say cut when she's performing? So that's the first, and then after that first cut, then it became okay. Naseer bhai was the next one where I was like, I didn't know how to speak to him first, so he
But he came in a very good mood that day.
That's what, because and you know what happened?
Yeah, very chill.
Yeah, like
for a night shoot.
मम्मी ने भी मुझे बोला था कि तुम थोड़ा संभाल के रहना, वो कुछ भी अगर बोल देना तुम बस हाथ ऐसे करके कि ठीक है सॉरी नसीर भाई ऐसे कर देना, कुछ बोलना मत. I was like ठीक है, and I was so scared before कि and then he came, he's like अरे आसमान कैसे हो, क्या करना है, and I was like बस हाँ सीन करना है जैसे, तो बोला ठीक है कर लेंगे. I was like okay, so why he didn't ask anything in the first take, he performed and he was like ठीक था. I was like हाँ of course नहीं कुछ है तो बोलो ना. तो then I told him कि मुझे बस ये एक यहाँ पे लगा. So he's like कि तुम बोलोगे नहीं तो मैं कैसे बताऊँ. I was like okay sir, अगली बार से बताओ ना.
Such a small
and
room,
yeah,
it's
it's like
half the size of
it's smaller than this room.
जहाँ पे मैं आके जो बिग गया जो ट्रेलर में that scene very comes into that room.
It's smaller than this room. So मतलब हम ऐसे हैं, and I was like कि and he is witness that कि मैंने बोला नहीं ये बहुत अच्छा था, and he was like कि बताओ ना तुम्हारी शक्ल पे दिख रहा है. I was like कि सर वो एक वो मैंने ऐसे, तो he's like तो बोला करो ना, कह रहे ऐसे कैसे होगा. So I was like okay ठीक है अगली बार से बोलूँगा. Then I started saying, and then I remember कि the next like after the pack up, I think at like 4-5 a.m. we packed him up, which I was anyway scared about कि नसीर भाई को 5 बजे तक रुका दिया. He messaged me and this thing no he didn't message me, he messaged mom and dad कि आसमान तो अच्छा कर रहा है, I'm very happy to see him like this. I know bye तो normally बोल के गए थे, तो I was like कि oh maybe he didn't
But he
enjoy.
was actually in a very good mood.
हाँ.
I think he had fun in
Yeah,
that scene
yeah.
also with Kumud sir.
Yeah. So
like I went to shake his hand and he hugged me. I was like, oh, this is a rarity.
I've never seen him in a bad. Maybe I had.
No, not bad mood. क्या होता है? He takes time to warm up
Bad
on a
mood.
set.
Oh my god. Naseer bhai at night.
Maybe I've shot him.
I mean, I did Finding Fanny with him, so it was quite chilled. But he used to have his moments.
Yeah.
But you get used to it after a few hours. But the first day you don't want it to be like he's come heavy on a set. He was quite light.
Correct. Oh, how lovely.
So yeah, so that was the only like 4 or 5 days that I was overwhelmed. Other than it was just a day to day where I was like आज ये खत्म करना है, इसके बारे में ही सोचते हैं. बाकी का बाद में देखेंगे.
Nice. Radhika, last question to you. You've said that because you started with Vishal and with Vasan Bala, you got such a strong foundation that you were never sort of carried away by the frivolousness or the superficiality of Hindi cinema.
Yeah.
So, what did they teach you that gave you that foundation?
They taught me to find the truth and to search for the truth. They made sure that I'm not living a false life. They made sure that I'm seeing the delusion. Once you can't see the delusion, then there's a problem because you're entangled in it. So Vishal sir told me, I remember we were shooting.
Yeah,
the
he
climax,
told me
yeah.
one the thing, he reminded me.
So, I was shooting for a film, Sanam, and I used that trick in that film. I remember we were shooting the climax where Bapu dies and मुझे रोना है तो मैं चिल्लाती हूँ बापू अब इतनी इमोशन के साथ चिल्ला रही हूँ पूरा गांव शांत सन्नाटा 10 सेकंड बाद मुझे आता है बड़की तुम गूंगी हो so I सब हंसने लग गए I felt so embarrassed क्या हो रही हो and then he just walked with me and he told me that see you reached a very pure emotion but never forget that there's a third person in your head do not get entangled by it otherwise the lines will start to become really blurred. So I used that when I was getting entangled in my characters and I also use that in life like why am I doing what I'm doing? What are my reasons? Am I actually chasing that shot जहाँ पर मेरे बाल उड़ रहे हैं? Does it give me happiness? Can I do that on my Instagram reel and it'll give me the same amount of happiness? What am I chasing? Am I chasing the truth? Am I actually searching what is inside me? Or am I just going with the भीड़? कि चलो सब कर रहे हैं ये चलता है तो चलाते हैं ये है तो करते हैं तो मैं अपना क्या ऐड कर रही हूँ लाइफ में मैं क्यों आई हूँ इस दुनिया में या मैं क्यों आई हूँ इस इंडस्ट्री में फिर तो रिप्लेसमेंट है ना सबकी ऐसी दिखती है ना कमर्शियल हीरोइन या ऐसी दिखती है इसकी रिप्लेसमेंट ये है इसकी रिप्लेसमेंट ये है मुझे नहीं बनना था रिप्लेसमेंट और यही चीज़ मुझे विशाल जी और वासन सर दोनों ने सिखाई थी कि तू जो परसेप्शन लेके आई है ना ज़्यादा दूर पहुंच जाएगी इजीली पहुंच जाएगी खुश नहीं रहेगी.
Yeah, I guess they made you realize what is your quest actually. Are you actually chasing your own imagination of the film industry and the Hindi film heroine, or are you chasing the performance and the craft?
And also perception hits flops. They are so external and so temporary. Why would I want to attach myself with that? Nobody can take my craft away from me. It is immortal. So I need to attach myself to that. कि वही मेरी attachment है. आप चाह के भी नहीं छीन सकते मुझसे. आप success, failure उसमें आप categorize कर दो. अगर मैं उसको देख ही नहीं रही उस तरीके से, तो फिर कैसे वो मुझे दुख भी पहुंचा सकता है जब नहीं भी होगा मेरे पास. तो वो सच्चाई ढूंढना उन्होंने मुझे सिखाया.
तो मुझे भी सिखाओ.
तुम्हें जरूरत नहीं तुम तो इतने अच्छे पास पे हो. अर्जुन ने इतना अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस किया है इस फिल्म में कुत्ते में. That you will see it. बहुत अच्छा किया.
Well, I can't wait to see it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.